No idea how deep this water is, but clearly well too deep to be able to drive through.
Away sign. We're going away from it.
We've done about 3,500 kilometres since we left home. Just ticked over the 150,000 k's on the van. We're back on the Stewart Highway in 130k zone, headed for Alice Springs. Fink River, as you can see, doesn't have any water. This morning we're at the Alice Springs Desert Park, which is a wildlife park.
Does this every time I start talking, she starts doing like this.
Feeding on the wing, so he's catching his food in his talons, he eats it straight away. In the kite world, they love to steal each other's food, so if it's in your belly, it's not going to be stolen. And it's very energy efficient if you can stay up in the air and eating on the run. It's almost like going through Macca's drive-through. He's also got a unique behaviour up his sleeve. He's very good at fishing. He's our only official fishing raptor out here. I do have a piece of food. He's going to try and fish it for us. Yeah, good job. The other roads in the afternoon, cracking open paddy melons. Not sure if anyone knows what a paddy melon is, but they look like wild watermelons growing on the sides of the road. They're actually a weed. So it's great that the pink cockatoo has capitalised on an extra food source. Eastern barn owl. Watch her blood. You can find them right across Australia. In fact, you can find them right across the world. The only continent you'll not find a barn owl on is Antarctica. That is the call of the barn owl as well, so if you hear some screaming out here, it is the barn owl. Sounds a bit eerie. But have a good look at her face. She has a lovely heart-shaped face. This acts as a radar dish, helping her hear. So it channels sound towards her ears, which you can't actually see because they're all covered in plastic feathers. But her ears, one is higher than the other, and one is pointing slightly outwards, and the other one pointing slightly in. So they have the ability to hear in 3D, which is quite amazing. She can hear a little mouse up to about 30-40 metres away. Doesn't necessarily have to see it, just hear it and can pinpoint exactly where that mouse is. She's a bit of a mouthful. Not many people have heard of black-breasted buzzards before. They're fairly common out here, but not too common anywhere else. He's sunning himself today, flapping those wings. He is a nest raider. He loves to eat chicks. He loves to crush small eggs with his feet. But the emu egg is way too big and strong for crushing. he needs something extra to get inside. Now, I think he lost the egg for a second, I think. He needs to throw rocks at it. What's so amazing about, good job. What's so amazing about that is we didn't teach him how to do that. He's never seen another bird do that in his life. It's all instinctual. It's an innate behaviour because he didn't learn it. It was built inside his brain when he was born.
This afternoon we've had a lovely time out here at Emily's Gap, swimming and reading and just relaxing. I'd love to show you the gap, but for cultural reasons it's not acceptable, so I just have to imagine a gap between these rocks with water in it. Beautiful place, lots of people here, but also a very significant cultural site.
Here we are, it is 9:10 on Monday morning in Alice Springs. What are we doing today?
We are working on getting our Northern Territory driver's licences and getting the van rego changed over to a Northern Territory registration.
We have achieved the first
in 400 metres
thing,
roundabout, take the first exit,
which is getting a roadworthy for the van. We were able to go, there's a company here called RK Diesel Services. Shout out to RK Diesel Services because they have been brilliant. They're actually sourcing a part for the van for us, and we just rocked up there this morning to see whether they would also be able to do a roadworthy for us on the spot, which they did. Very friendly and helpful.
exit the roundabout onto Smith Street.
So we now have a green slip, and now we're on our way back to Motor Vehicle Register of Northern Territory in Alice Springs to complete the process.
Take the next left onto Stewart Highway.
So hopefully before too much longer we will have Northern Territory driver's licences and a Northern Territory registered van.
Continue on 87.
And that's really helpful because at the moment we can't get much past Alice Springs. There's road closures because of flooding, which could hold us up getting to Darwin and mean that this process, which we were going to do in Darwin, we might not have time for. So great to get it done here and out of the way. Does that say on the...
Oh, you're kidding. It's closed.
Well, it's a warm old day in Alice Springs, and it's been pretty full on. We have managed to get our driver's licenses done, so we're now licensed new Northern Territory drivers. We didn't get the van rego changed over because the inspection place at the Motor Vehicle Registry was closed today. We have had a roadworthy done, so we've only got to visit the MVR again to get that done. Hopefully the guy's there tomorrow and we can finish that off. But we've also had to get a new tyre for the front. One of our new front tyres was destroyed today. Partly because of a screw that was embedded in it and partly because of my procrastination. So that was an expensive and time-consuming exercise, getting that sorted out. Next I'm going to the dentist because I've got a toothache. It never rains but it pours. So
We did get our door part.
we did get our door part, that came in today. RK Diesel Services again. So really happy about that, and really happy with the service that we got from Tyre Power here in Alice Springs as well, who had the tyre that we needed in stock, were able to get the work done. And the young guy who did the work was really good. It was such good service, really helpful. went the extra mile, checked all the tyre pressures for us and everything, which he didn't have to do. He could have just done the bare minimum. So yeah, really pleased with the service from them. And we also went to Bunnings because I haven't been to Bunnings for a while. But that was because when I went to take the spare wheel off the hanger, I couldn't get the nut undone. It had been torqued up so tight. And I realised that something that's been in the back of my mind is if we get a flat somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, I'm probably not going to be able to get the wheel nuts off because of the way they torque them up. So we went to Bunnings and got an impact driver to be able to, and a impact socket to be able to get the wheel nuts off, because I don't want to be 1,000 k's from anywhere and with a flat tyre and not be able to change it. So it's been an expensive day. Yes. and it promises to continue to be so, because I've got a dentist appointment shortly. Anyway, we're having lunch at the Botanic Garden at the moment, and then it's on to more van life chores. It's not really a very exciting day, but they're necessary things. So. Well, today I'm paying the price for my procrastination. I didn't bother replacing this part that I repaired when I was building the van, and so now in Alice Springs, sitting in a campground, I'm having to replace it, and it's going to be a whole lot more awkward than it would have been if I'd done it before the kitchen went in. But I thought that my repair was going to hold, and maybe it is going to hold, but I'm just not confident with it. And out here, it's just not worth the risk. So replacement it is. The hard part, I think, though, is going to be getting everything lined up with the new part in and getting it done up. Slide the old one out first. I need to close the door, and then I need to go inside and put the bolts back in. So there's the old one. And you can see in there the weld that I did. The weld's not cracking. Oh, I'm making this more difficult than I need to. If I had thought about that and prepared things earlier, that would have been much easier. Okay, got the holes lined up by the look of it, so hopefully I can get the bolts back in and we'll have a properly functioning door again. Alright, let's try the door. making that ugly noise anymore. It was making a nasty noise when it was rolling through here, and when I got the new part, I found that there was actually supposed to be a nylon bush or tyre on a bearing that didn't have one, which is probably part of the reason for the nasty noise. So hopefully that's now sorted the issue. The other job I've decided I need to do is I need to get fan forced extraction happening in this cabinet, because just occasionally on really hot days when we're plugged in and we're running the AC and the inverter's having to work hard charging the batteries and running appliances, it overheats and shuts down. So I bought a 120mm computer fan, and I'm going to try and figure out how to extract air from this cabinet, probably push it into the cab area, just to help stop the heat build up in here. So for the second time I'm changing number plates over on the van. It's no longer Victorian, now Northern Territorian. Now we can leave Alice Springs and head north again. This evening we've come out to Karlu Karlu, also known as Devil's Marbles, to see the sunset. There's been lots of flooding in this area recently, so it was kind of touch and go whether we were going to be able to get up here now. So thankfully the roads are open again. It's probably a bit unusual to see water here. We've come back to Karlu Karlu this morning to have another look around and a walk up to the lookout. All the recent rains have meant that there's lots of insects, lots of green, lots of grass, and a section where we just had to cross a creek which ordinarily would be dry. Some of this area that we can't photograph out of respect for the traditional owners.
This rock right in front of us was removed. You'd have to check the date, but it was moved to Alice Springs to mark the grave of Reverend John Flynn, who founded the Royal Flying Doctor Service. And then again, we'd have to check the date. It was returned to the exact spot that it had been taken from, and the local people chose a separate local rock to mark his memorial. They note that it's an example of reparation and that the rock was returned, but it is changed. You can see that it's quite different from the others around it, and that's because it's been water blasted to remove graffiti. So reparation is good and right, but it is not always going to return things to the state that they were before the injustice was done. See evidence of the recent rain, and you can see the desert coming back to life, the green.
We've just stopped at the Bill Allen Lookout in Tennant Creek. Down there is the mining town of Tennant Creek. It's the Three Ways Roadhouse. It was north of here where the closures persisted the longest after the flooding recently, and where we weren't sure we were going to be able to get through this part of the road for a few days. So it's open now, but there's still lots of signs telling you to be careful and slow down, and there could be water over the road. So Melanie's driving, she's a good cautious driver. So we're in good hands. Sometimes it can be hard to tell whether what you're seeing is water over the road or a mirage.
It's usually a mirage.
It's usually a mirage. We haven't struck much water over the road yet. So tonight we've ended up not where we had expected to end up. We've driven quite a bit further, had quite a long day, but we've ended up at Daly Waters. We're staying in the Daly Waters pub campground. It's quite humid. It's the happy look on Melanie's face. But it's a nice spot. Plenty of evidence of the recent rains which have impacted the area, and the rains actually are the reason why we're not staying at one of our choices for tonight, but I think this is better anyway. Quite a cool little place, so perhaps we'll show you around it at some point. So this morning we're just having a little bit of a look around Daly Waters. This town has a population of 9. All of them are employees at the pub. It's an interesting little place. Somebody has a sense of humour. Okay.
This is Adelaide River. Wow. I think we're turning off before we really get to Adelaide River.
We are turning off.
Turn left onto Dorab Road, B23.
Yeah, the Daly River is flooding. Douglas Hot Springs. Probably got
Continue
crocodiles.
on B23 for 13 kilometres.
Oh, train line. So much water.
There's a fairly decent amount of rain potentially forecast for the next 24 hours, which may mean we can get in, but we wouldn't be able to get out. It's not too deep. We could drive through this okay. Question is, if we drive through it now, are we going to be able to drive back through it again when we want to come back out? Melanie's signalling to me that she's seen a crocodile, I think. So that's the track up to Robin Falls.
And we're turning around.
We're turning around and going back to Adelaide River for lunch, because discretion is the better part of valour. With the rain that's forecast to possibly happen today, we don't want to get trapped in here. I reckon there's more water here now than there was a few minutes ago when we came through.
Yeah, I don't like it. River, I'm pretty sure.
This is the Adelaide River in flood. 11.2 metres is what the gauge read.
Wow. It's the rest area. Information sign in the middle of the water. No camping.
I don't think we want to camp in there. It's a bit damp.
Oh, to the road there. It is the wet season. It is raining. We've just left Adelaide River, heading for Florence Falls. I think we're going to be camping in the rain. Can you read that? It says road subject to flooding.
Well, our plan to go to Florence Falls to stay the night is not going to come off. There's a depth gauge in the water over there. It's too far away to be able to read. No idea how deep this water is, but clearly well too deep to be able to drive through. So after all the shenanigans yesterday with flooded roads and not being able to get to places that we had planned to camp at, we ended up staying at a hip camp in Humpty Doo. Humpty Doo's kind of most famous for this guy behind me, the boxing crocodile. And so now we're headed for Darwin. Well, 33 days after setting out from Melbourne, we've arrived in Darwin. We'll spend the next week here, and in a week's time we fly out to Iveco Island.
Right about now, I think,
Yep.
we'll be on a plane.
So in a week's time we fly to Iveco Island, which is where we're going to be living and working for the foreseeable future. But it's been a pretty epic trip. We've seen a lot of really cool things, done some neat stuff. There's been setbacks and disappointments and things go wrong, unexpected expenses.
But lots of wow moments.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Uluru. Uluru was just amazing. There's been a lot though, and even yesterday we were driving towards Florence Falls in the Litchfield National Park, hoping to spend a night at Florence Falls, and talking about how amazing it would be to see Litchfield National Park in the wet season. We've been there in the dry season more than once, and yeah, we saw it in the wet season. All right, well, we didn't get there, but just seeing the flooding was quite something in an area which we've seen to be fairly dry normally, apart from the few permanent waterways there. So.
How many Ks have we done?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Last I looked, I think we've done about 5,300 kilometres in 33 days. And spent a bucket load on diesel.
About $1,300. It's not. It's less than I thought it would be.
About $1,300 on diesel. So. Which
is a bucket load of money, but yeah.
But flying's not free.
No.
So anyway, that's going to wrap this video up. Hope you have enjoyed it. As always, be kind, take care, and look out for a van tour video which will be coming soon, and we'll probably talk about the things that we like about the van, the things that we would do differently or that we're not so happy with. Yeah, so look out for that video coming up sometime soon. See ya.